What is up, guys? Today I'm very excited to show you the Scotch Gambit. This is a very aggressive opening that you could get very quick wins against your opponents in if they don't find all the very precise moves. So it starts with e4, they go e5, knight f3, knight c6, defends the pawn that was under attack. Now you go d4. This is known as the Scotch game. And after takes, the main line usually goes knight takes d4, and it tends to be very drawish. But we today will choose bishop c4, the Scotch Gambit. And here black has many variations, and they have to be very precise to not get into a losing position. For example, if they try move like h6, maybe they're scared of knight g5, there's already castles, bishop c5, c3, and here we're threatening to take here and get a massive center, so they'll take. Then we could already sacrifice a bishop, a brilliant move by chess.com, lure the king out, and now we have this fork. After here, we have a crushing position out of the opening. We have more development. They can't castle. We're already castled, and we're just crushing. So that's against bishop to b4 check. Or that's against bishop. That's against h6. Now we'll be going over bishop to b4 check. Against this, we could simply do the same idea of c3, and here, instead of taking back like in any of these ways, which are both fine moves, we'll go for the aggressive castling. The idea is we're giving up more pawns just for piece development. Look at these monstrous bishops. Look at that. And they'll play knight f6, for example. Now go e5, striking, hitting the knight. They have to go knight g4, for example. h3 kicks it away to h6. Then we can just keep on developing, and look, we have 4 pieces out and we're castled versus they only have 3 pieces out and they're not even castled yet. So we have a huge developmental advantage. Here, for example, they castle. Now we could hop our knight in the center. They might play this, for example. Then knight to f6, another brilliant move by chess.com, sacrificing the knight. Takes. Now we have this very powerful pawn here. They'll play d5, for example, striking our bishop. But here we could just play queen to c1. And now we're threatening check and then mate after king moves here. So we don't care about this bishop because of this mating threat. So they'll play knight f5 to cover this mating square. Then we could simply slide over a rook to add more pressure to this using the pin. They'll play bishop to e6 defending, but then we could sacrifice our bishop because after takes, we could go check, and we win the knight. And knight here, for example, now this is just going to be mate. GG's. So that's against bishop to b4. Now we'll go over bishop to e7. So against bishop to e7, we could just simply go c3, and they'll take. Then we go queen to d5, threatening mate. Their only way of defending is knight to h6. And it looks like we're completely winning after takes because we're threatening mate and we just chopped off a free knight. But unfortunately, they still have this. We're still like better, but they do have this castling move. Now the bishop's under attack, and even though we're down a piece, if we like come back, for example, they could go knight b4, threaten the queen, and after here, they could keep on taking, and it's fine. If you go like here, for example, they have fork, and the engine says it's equal. They have compensation. So back here, instead of coming back, we simply sacrifice for a pawn. And also they were threatening here. That's why I said this specific move to defend. So we sacrifice the bishop for a pawn. After king takes, we're just crushing. After knight takes c3, all of our pieces are out. Here, it is equal material, but their king is very exposed, and our pieces are just way better than theirs, and they're all developed, unlike this bishop and this queen, for example. And his king, of course, is exposed. So that's what to do against bishop to e7. Now, another thing they could try here, for example, could be bishop to c5. They want to really hold on to this pawn. Here we could keep on going with the same idea of c3. We're threatening to take here, so they'll take. Then bishop f7. The same idea. After takes, we get this fork, and we win the bishop right back. First we have this move, and then we win it. And we're just crushing here. After takes. We have this huge development, knight f6, and we're just completely winning. They can't castle. We have more pieces developed and they have less pieces developed, and we're just crushing. Another thing they could do, their best line, the only line that keeps it equal, is back here instead of h6. The only move to really just keep it equal is after knight to f6. This is the best line for them, by the way. We go e5, and now they already have to find another only move. They have to find d5 here. This is like, if they don't find all these moves, they're going to get in a very passive position. Like, for example, knight g4, we could castle. They keep on developing. They can't take here because after takes, we have rook e1, and we're simply going to win this knight. For example, queen e7, f4, we win it due to this pin. So that's why they have to find d5 here. They can't just like move the knight. Here we play bishop b5. This is all theory, by the way. Here, now I could re-grab the pawn. Now we have two attackers on this knight, which has one defender. So they'll defend with bishop to d7. They have to find all these moves. Otherwise, we're just crushing. Now we take. We don't want to take with the knight, because then after pawn takes, this is actually hitting our bishop. And even though they have doubled pawns, it's actually nice for them. Like, for example, we retreat. They have more time to do whatever they want, like bishop c5, for example. So instead we take with the bishop. So after takes, our bishop's not under attack, and we have more time. So here we could castle. They go bishop c5. We go f3, knight g4, now f4. So we basically got this f4 move for free. And this is all basically forced unless they want to go really passive. And then we go bishop to e3. We're keeping on developing. And here they have to find queen to b8 if they still want to stay equal, which is just like impossible to find if you don't know the theory. And then after b3, it's equal. But if they castle, for example, we could go knight d2, and we get a very nice position after a few moves. Here they played bishop to b6, so they could try playing c5, get the bishop out of the way from that square, so the pawn could get there. But we could simply come back, and we are doing great. We have the space advantage, and overall our position's just better. So that is how to play the Scotch Gambit. Make sure to drop down in the comments below what opening I should do next, or if you have any questions. But that's it. Thank you. Bye.